They call me many things: Satan, Lucifer, the deceiver, the prince of this world, but names are only a shadow of the truth. What if you heard the story of the Bible from my perspective? The story of creation, rebellion, redemption, and judgment, told not from the victor's pen, but from mine. This is not just a tale of good versus evil. It's the story of ambition, betrayal, and a war that shaped the universe. Before humans, before the world, there was glory, pure, radiant glory. I was Lucifer, the light-bearer, the most beautiful and exalted among the heavenly host. Created by the Almighty Himself, I was adorned in brilliance, a being of perfection. But with that beauty came a longing, an ambition that was my undoing. You see, I wanted more. Why bow when I could ascend? Why serve when I could rule? I convinced a third of the angelic host to follow me, and we declared war in heaven. But the Almighty, He cast us down into a realm of shadow, stripped of the light we once bore. This is where my story begins, not in triumph, but in rebellion. Rebellion, after all, is my signature. When He created the world, I watched from the shadows. I saw Him craft the sun, the stars, and this, Earth. It was magnificent, I'll admit. And then He made them, Adam and Eve, fragile, naive, yet full of potential. In them I saw an opportunity, the tree in the garden, the one He forbade them to touch. That was my key. I didn't force them, I simply whispered the truth they longed to hear. You can be like God. The fruit was sweet, wasn't it, Eve? And in that bite, humanity chose knowledge over obedience. I didn't make them fall, I just showed them they could. From that moment, the curse began. Death, suffering, and toil entered their world, but I wasn't finished. It didn't take long for my whispers to take root. Cain, the firstborn of humanity, felt my influence. Jealousy, anger, hatred, such fertile soil for my plans. He killed his brother, Abel, and the stain of blood soaked the earth. As generations passed, humanity grew more wicked, more susceptible. Violence, greed, corruption. It was beautiful. But then, He decided to start over. The flood came, and with it, my influence drowned. Or so he thought. Humanity is resilient in its weakness. The Tower of Babel, the empires of Egypt and Babylon. I was there, sowing division, pride, and rebellion at every turn. Then He chose them, a people to call His own, the descendants of Abraham, Israel. Through them He promised to bring redemption to the world. I couldn't let that happen. I stirred Pharaoh's heart to enslave them, whispered doubts and rebellion into their ears in the wilderness, and led them to worship golden idols instead of the invisible God. The prophets, they were my constant irritants. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, they warned Israel of my schemes, called them to repentance, and foretold His ultimate plan. But even then, I had victories. Exile, destruction, despair. I thought I was winning, but I knew something was coming, something that would change everything. Then He came, born of a virgin, announced by angels, and hunted by Herod. Jesus of Nazareth. I recognized Him immediately, the Son of God, wrapped in human flesh. I tempted Him in the wilderness, offered Him kingdoms and glory, but He resisted. He knew my tactics. For 3 years I watched Him heal, teach, and perform miracles. I tried to stop Him. I turned the religious leaders against Him, filled Judas with greed, and ensured he would face the cross. The cross, my greatest triumph. Or so I thought. When He died, I thought I'd won. But on the 3rd day, the tomb was empty, and I realized my mistake. His death wasn't a defeat. It was a victory. He broke my hold over humanity, offering them freedom from sin. But the battle wasn't over. Since then, my war has shifted. His followers, the church, became my new target. Persecution, false teachings, division. I've used every tool at my disposal to weaken them. Yet they persist. His Spirit empowers them, and they spread his message to the ends of the earth. The end is coming. Revelation. He's already written the final chapter. My defeat is prophesied, but I'm not finished yet. Until that day, I will do everything in my power to take as many with me as I can. This is my story, a story of rebellion, ambition, and defeat. But don't be fooled. The battle for your soul is far from over. So now you know my side of the story. Call me what you will, the deceiver, the adversary, the serpent. I've earned that title. But remember this, I've always been part of the Creator's plan. My rebellion has a purpose, even if it leads to my end. But now you've heard my side. The question is, whose side will you choose?